everyone. Okay, let's get into this. Alright, so as you can see, this is what we are creating today. The one that I'm actually doing today, I've chosen to do a different colour. So as we go through, I'll show you. You can do whatever colour you want because obviously you've got the white flowers, and if you wanted to leave them white or you want to colour them in whatever colour spray you've got. And I'll talk about the sprays and what you can use and the mediums as we go through this video. Alright, I'm just going to put mine to the side there and we're going to get started. Alright, so we're going to build our base first. So in your kit you will have your 2 larger pieces and your 5 smaller pieces. Now what we're going to do, we're going to get our 5 smaller pieces, and I just use this for getting them level. So I'm just going to do that to get them nice and level. And then what we're going to do, we're going to get our ruler. We're going to measure down from the top of the smaller boards. We're going to measure down 2 inches and make a mark. We're going to do that there, and then we're going to get our ruler, and we are going to rule that line. We're going to do the same at the bottom. So from the bottom of the small pieces, we're going to measure up 2 inches, 2 inches and either side. And once again, we're going to get our ruler and we're going to draw that line. So that's what we need to do. Now the reason we're doing that is, and then we're just going to put them to the side for a minute, so that when we're doing this, we know exactly where our board's going to go. So we're going to line 2 of these up, so we're only going to use 2 for the moment, and we're going to get our board, our cross board, and you can see here where my line is. Hopefully you can see that line there. We're going to line that up at the edge, so we're going to have this piece to the edge of the board and this piece to the edge of the board lining up with that 2-inch line, and we're going to glue that on, and then we're going to do it, we're going to have that like that, and that way this is going to start our board. This one here, we're going to do exactly the same on the bottom, so we're going to glue that on. Now glues that you can use, I just picked this up from the cheap shop. If you want it, or Bunnings, I got this one from Bunnings. This is a wood glue. This one here is just a PVA glue. Whatever you've got will work. You just want something a little bit stronger to hold it together. So I'm probably going to use the one I got from Bunnings. And all I did, I just basically, what I did when I got this on here, I just got my pencil and I just did another line underneath. So now I know where my gluing area is. So I'm just going to undo this. And all I did was I just got basically the glue to come out of each side. Just put some glue on there. And then I used a paintbrush. You can use, you can use whatever you've got, but I just used a paintbrush just to get that glue and make sure you get a bit on there. And just get that glue into the right position that you're going to need. I should have my messy mat, but anyway, I'm always making a mess, but that's okay, it'll clean up. Alright, so that, just wipe that bit of glue off there. Okay, so once you've got your glue on there, then you can put your piece on. So we're just going to, I'm just going to have to try and eyeball this so I haven't got my head in the picture, but we're just going to eyeball that, get that nice and level, and then, sorry if I'm sticking my head where it shouldn't be. I just want to make sure that goes exactly. Now it could be slightly out, you're going to have to just move it, just try and get that. The other way you can do that is by using, this board just to make sure it's nice and level. That way and that way. And we're going to do exactly the same. So when you get your board on this one, get your pencil and you're just going to rule that line, and then we're going to put our glue on. Get our glue on, and then just get your paintbrush and just paint that on. And the reason I'm doing the two outside ones first is just because it's easier, and then you can line up the other ones a lot easier. Okay. Alright, so then we're going to put this one on. Once again, we're going to line it up with those pencil lines we've drawn on there and get that nice and level. I'm just going to check that that's pretty good there. Just make sure that you're pretty happy with that. And then what I suggest you do with that is you put that aside to dry. Now when it's dry, I can't actually turn this one over just yet. I will need to actually move this. But when you turn it over, you can then put the other pieces in and eyeball the distance. So I'm just going to move this one to the side. I'll just put that over to the side, and I have got another one that I prepared earlier. So you won't have the middle ones on here, but you'll have these. And then all you've got to do with this three that are left over, you've got your pencil line. You can pretty much work it out quite easily where they've got to go. And I basically eyeballed the gaps. I didn't actually do a measurement, I just eyeballed it. So roughly it's about 1/4 of an inch between each one. I'm just measuring mine, and I did a pretty good job. So about 1/4 of an inch. These don't fit, because I was going to say you could use these, but they don't. So yeah, so that's what you need to do. Alright, so then you need to put that aside to dry and let it dry. Now while it's drying, you can be assembling your box. So let's assemble our box. We'll do that. So in your kit you have your box. We'll do that while we're waiting for that to dry. Okay, so this shadow box is quite easy to put together. Sorry, I just realised my microphone was in the wrong spot, so hopefully you can hear me better now. Okay, so we've got this. Now, all you really need to do is you've got to bend it along the edges. Now, you've got to, takes a little bit of force, but not too much, because you don't want to break it. So you're just going to go around and fold it on those lines. The other way, of course, you can do it is use your ruler if you're worried. Put your ruler and fold it back. You can see where each line mark goes. So this one, the next one goes to there, and then you can just pull it back against your ruler. That's probably the easiest way to do it, and that way you'll get a nice clean fold as well. So just pulling that up. Okay, and we're going to do that all the way around. And then this here will then fold, as you can see, into that slot. So we're going to do that all the way around. I'm just going to pull this up. It's quite simple once you get the hang of it. So just using your ruler, and then you can just fold it up. See how easy that is. Okay, just going to do, and you can, yeah, and once we get that done, okay, last one. Okay, one more. Right, so once you've got all those done, then basically it's just a matter of assembling it. Now, I did put glue in mine, so I actually did get some of this glue. I'm just going to get a piece of baking paper. I'm just going to use that for, just so I don't get glue all over my mat. I use baking paper because, you know, I'm too lazy to wash my messy mat, but anyway. Yeah, so we're just going to put a little bit of glue in here. Now, this is a little bit of a game of patience. Once you put your glue in there, and you could use your paintbrush as well. I might use my paintbrush for this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some glue on my messy mat here. And I'm just going to use my paintbrush. So I might actually use a smaller paintbrush. You will need various sizes of paintbrush. So I'm actually going to put it into the hole. So I'm going to paint it into the hole, so it gets on both sides. I'm just going to paint that in there. And don't worry too much if you go over the edges. We are covering it all. As long as it's not big lumps, it won't matter. So once you get that in there, and then what you're going to do, you're just going to fold that over and you will feel it go in. And then you can check it the other side as well. So you'll actually feel that go in. And then when you turn it over, you can actually see that it's in line with the base of the box. Oh, mine just popped out. Like I said, it's a game of patience. You've just got to hold it till it tacks off. Now, if you've got your 450 glue, you can use that. You just need a relatively strong glue. I don't recommend a glue gun for this sort of thing because it will, you know, it will give, especially in our humid weather. Okay, so I'm just going to get some more glue into these holes where I'm holding the other one. If you haven't got the right size paintbrush, you know, you can just run your glue along there. I can't even squeeze this one. It's pretty hard to get out. Oh, there we go. So you can just run a glue bead along there like so, if that's easier. And then you're just going to get that in to there. Now, you also will want to put a little bit of glue, and this is where your paintbrush might even come in handy, or if you've got a steady hand, you can just put a bead of glue between there to hold that. Come on. Okay, and then I'll just wipe that glue off. Yeah, so if you just, and then you've just got to hold it, and it takes a while because the glue, and of course it's, you know, pretty rainy weather here. It's, it is humid, but it's pretty rainy. Now, if these don't go exactly how you want it to go, don't stress too much because we are going to put some bricks over there, and that will also hold that shut. I'm just going to wipe this glue off here. And it just, like I said, it's just a very patient game to get this done. So once you've got all of those done, you are ready for painting. So I'm just going to put this aside for a minute. Just put that aside. I'm just going to put that aside for a minute. All right, so I have one here that I prepared earlier. Otherwise, we would be here for 3 days doing this. So you can stop these videos and do it. So basically, in your kit, you've got your chipboard. I just followed the photo and just put my chipboard on. I cut some pieces a little bit smaller. So you can put as much on as you want, but I did put it over the corners, these two corners, to strengthen it. And just, you know, when it's done. Now, when you paint this, you've got, of course, in your kit, you've got your white paint. This is actually a really nice paint. I was really happy with this paint. It's the first time I've used it, so I was pretty happy with that. So you can paint it. So you want to, I did paint the back. I didn't do a great job on the back because, you know, you don't really see it. I just did it to seal the chipboard, really. So you do not need to paint in here. You just need to paint the outside, put it outside to dry, and then when it's dry we are going to spray it. So in your kit you would have got your spray. This is the spray that I used. It's a Nuvo sparkle spray. It comes in about 11 colours I think that I've got, so you can use it. Just give it a nice shake, side to side as well, ladies. Please don't shake up and down. When you shake a spray up and down, it puts air bubbles up into the tube and blocks it, so it doesn't work. So yeah, just side to side, and then give it a nice good shake. And what that does, it gets all the pigment off the bottom of the bottle and gets that colour nice through. Now, when you go to spray this, you'll probably want to take it outside. because you might make a mess. The trick for spraying, I'm just going to use this bottle. I know it's different to yours, but it is the same spray. The idea is to go sideways, sideways, sideways. So when you're spraying it, go sideways. Now, if you go too close, it's going to just blob. So you want to try and have your hand probably about, I don't know, what's that, about 20, 30 centimetres away, and spray. So start spraying and press, press and press. And that will give you that look that I've got. I'm going to just grin and bear it and do it in here. And then I will put it aside to dry. So I'm just going to make sure it works first, to spray off and then just spray across. See, I just spray across, and then you're going to get the desired look that you want. So if you don't quite like the speckledy look, you can get like a paper towel or something if you want, and you can just dab it off a little bit. So that's up to you. I can show you how to do that. I'm just going to grab the paper towel. I'll just grab my paper towel and show you. But where but yeah, and as dark as you want as well. So you can go as light or as dark as you want, and as much as you want. But I'll just show you with the paper towel how you can, if you don't really like that look, see, very gently you can just touch that and see how it goes into a bit more of a solid colour. So if you prefer the solid colour look, you can just dab that off like so, and you can then go back over it. If you want more intensity, once again, in a certain spot, you just go across and you've got that. So that's basically how I do it. I only did both corners. I'm just going to do that quite heavy, and then I'm going to show you, because I did that quite heavy. You can just dab that off really lightly, and then you can just, get it wherever you want. And then with your paper towel, look, you can use, a doorbell, you can use whatever you've got. Paper towels always in the room. Or, yeah, if you use a baby wipe, it will actually remove it. So I wouldn't recommend a baby wipe. I'm just going to do that just a little bit more up there, and then I'm actually going to take some of that off. Yeah, so, and just leave it a little bit darker down in the corner and have it like so. Now, when it dries, it will also lighten up a little bit as well. So I'm just going to remove that messy mat now, and I'm going to put this aside to dry. I'm happy with that. Don't forget, we are going to be covering this here with the flowers, so we don't need to be too particular on that. All right, so I'm going to put that aside to dry, and we'll go back to our board. I might just I'm just going to get a wet one, and I tend to use a lot of these, and I'm just going to wipe my mat just where I got the spray all over it. Okay. All right. Just because it does tend to stain, but anyway, that's okay. That's good enough. All right. Okay. So, all right. So what I'm going to do now, I've got my board here ready to go. So in your kit, you had your brick paper, and what I've done, I have actually cut these to size. And I think all this is written in the instructions, and I'm now going to glue these on. Now, if you don't like the timber look between, you've got your white paint, you can cover that over, but you won't really see it, because once we put our board over, you won't really see that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Mod Podge for this. Once again, you can use your PVA glue, you can use whatever glue you want. I just think that I'll use my Mod Podge, which is just about empty, and I'm just going to paint it on the board. So I'm just going to paint the board. And just get the board well covered. And of course, if you do go over the edge, you can always just wipe that off. So I'm just going to use that Mod Podge. Let's put the lid back on that other glue as well. Okay, and then I'm just going, just be careful. All right, just wipe that off. And then I'm just going to basically lay that on there, get it nice and I'm going to line it up with the top. I'm just going to line it up with the top. And mine is a tiny little bit, overhang, but I'm not worried about that. I'm going to use my brayer. If you don't have a brayer and you've got a Stamp Buddy, you can use a Stamp Buddy dual action tool. I'm just going to grab mine out of my kit just to show you the. So if you've got a Stamp Buddy, you can just use that and just to smooth it out. If you've got a brayer, of course, use your brayer, whatever you've got. Otherwise, if you've got neither, just use your hand and make sure you get that. And make sure you get the glue because you don't want you don't want it peeling off. Okay, so we're going to do that to every one. So we're going to put that on every piece. We're going to glue that on. Just make sure you get that glue on there. Now, if you don't, like I think I said before, if you don't have Mod Podge and you've got your PVA glue, you can use that. If you haven't got the PVA glue, I probably wouldn't use the Art Glitter glue. I would probably use more of a 450 equivalent. I think the Art Glitter glue, probably not for this exercise. Okay, just get your pieces on. Now, if you're clever, you've probably got these all up the right way. I haven't actually done that, but I think they're right. No one's going to look that closely to say, oh, I think you've put one of those upside down. But anyway, so I'm just going to keep going with this. Get these on. I'm a bit messy, but anyway. Like I said, if you did want to paint between these, you should do that before you put your paper on, because if I did that, I'd probably end up having it everywhere. Going to wipe that bit of glue off. I'm probably rushing trying to get this done, so I'm not taking you ladies forever. Okay. Yeah, so as long as you've got them lined up to one edge, we can always cut the bottom bit off with a craft knife. If your wood has a bit of a defect in it because it is timber, you can just turn it over. No one's going to look at the back of it. Just use the smooth side. Just use the smooth side for putting your paper on. Okay. I have to say thank you to my husband and Neville, which is a friend of mine's husband who works in a kitchen or in a cabinetry shop. He actually, they cut these boards for me, so I was pretty grateful that they did that for me, because sometimes you can't always just buy what you want, so we just bought the timber, and I didn't want to use chipboard because I think chipboard would not have worked in this situation. It would have been too thin. Okay, so we're just going to put this last piece on. Okay, now we won't cut, so we're just going to make sure that there's no little edges that aren't glued down, And you will notice on mine that mine are a little bit longer, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm just going to get my craft knife and I'm just going to trim that off. So the measure, I didn't actually tell you the measurements. They are in the instructions that you've got, but I think they were 2 1/8 by 11 3/4. That was the length. Sorry, I should have said that before I started doing that. All right, so that is going to dry now. So while that's drying, let's paint our chipboard. I've actually done mine. Now, the one that I did, and I want to talk about this as well, because the paint that I originally used, of course, was when I went to order it out of stock. So I thought, right, so that's why I decided to go with the Montmartre paint. Now, I do want to talk about the difference in the colour. It's a deeper brown. However, I might just put that, I hope you can see this all right here. However, if you don't want the darker look, and because I've decided to do this one in lavender, I'm doing the flowers on mine in lavender. I didn't mind the darker look, but if you want that paler look, you'll just need to add some white paint in with the brown paint. So just put some brown paint, mix some white until you get it to the colour you want. I actually really quite like the darker colour on this one. So what we need to do, we need to paint our ring. So we're going to paint that both sides. We'll paint that and paint that in the brown. Then we need to paint all the chipboard except for the birds. So the birds I actually painted in white. I painted them white. Where's my, what am I looking for? I'm missing my welcome. Where's my welcome? I know I painted that. Oh, here it is. Yep, so I painted the welcome in white. I painted the birds white. The fence I painted in the brown. The bird's nest I painted in the brown. The branches I painted in the brown, but I didn't paint the little leaves. I left them normal, and I actually used my spray to paint the leaves, and then when these were dry, I went over them. This, I'm going to show you how I got the look of the two-tone, so I'll show you that shortly. What else do I need to tell you about the chipboard? This here, I just got my finger and I just dipped it into a bit of paint and I rubbed it over, so I got some of the paint into the base, and then I got my wet one and I just wiped it off and left a little bit of the paint on there because I wanted to keep that as it is. So when you're doing that, have a wet one at the ready, and when you put the paint on, then you're just going to wipe that off with that. So that's what I did with that. Now you can use whatever ever you've got color-wise. I used, I'm always been a huge fan of Tattered Angels. I have quite a few in stock of the Tattered Angels. I've had mine probably for, I'm going to even say, I don't know, 15, maybe even more. And every time I get them out, I just give them a good shake and they're good to go. I've never had a problem with these particular sprays. So I chose, I'm doing this one, like I said, in lavender. And then I just used a paintbrush, dipped it into the spray, and I painted the birds, painted the leaves, and did all that. Then when it came to the flowers, I just laid them out. I mean, you can do them as whatever colour you're doing. And I just, sorry, excuse me, I just lightly sprayed the flowers and then, of course, put them aside to dry. I did want a slightly deeper look with the roses, so I did give them a little bit more of a spray. There's no right or wrong way to spray these. Just don't overspray them because they'll fall apart. They are paper when it's all said and done. And once again, when spraying them, this is where you might want to wear a glove or put them on something and spray them. I like to hold them and do that spray action just so I get that done. I might even just I might even just do that. This one here is called Fully Purple, and then I did use this one here as well, which is called Periwinkle Bouquet. I am going to make another one because I've done the pink, the purple. I want to do, and when I do that, I'll actually put a photo up. I want to do one I want to paint the houses in a different colour. So I'm probably just going to make a mess here, but you know, just be careful. Light sprays. I'm just going to put a little bit into the centre of that, and then and the more you put into it, obviously the darker it's going to go. So that was it with those. So I'm going to put everything aside to dry, and we should be ready to move on to the next step. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. So of course you'll need to be pausing me quite often so you can get your bits done. All right, what I'm going to do next though, I'm hoping that our box is nice and dry. The white one, thanks. So I've got a helper here, my husband's here helping me today, so passing me what I need. All right, so this is not really quite dry. You could use a heat gun. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to check. Yeah, it's still pretty wet, so I'm not going to do that. But what we will do, we will cut our piece of pattern paper here, the brick one, and the measurement for that is 9 7/8 by 4 7/8. I suggest that you actually measure yours just so you don't cut it wrong, and then we are going to glue that in there. I might just not risk it, and I might actually let that dry. So while that's drying some more, I'll just put that there. I'm going to show you how I painted these houses. Now, the ones that I did, this one I didn't lighten my paint too much because, like I said, well, that won't fall any further. I did these a little bit darker. So I painted them all with the white paint first. So that's what I did. Now you need to have on the ready, you need to have your paintbrush and you need to have a baby wipe. So what I did, I painted them with the white paint first. So I used the white paint to paint them, and then I just got some of the brown paint, and just going to see, and then once I've done this, so this is once again a personal choice to how you like to see your houses. Obviously you're not going to see the bottom, so you see I haven't even painted that, but you can. I did paint the sides. So I also watered my paint down a little bit, just to make it a little bit easier. And of course, if you want them lighter, get some white paint, mix it up, get it to the colour you want, and I just painted over. So I just really painted over the whole thing. I didn't put a lot into the window. I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm just going to get that paint on there. Then I'm just going to use without the darker paint I did on the roof. So I just put the darker paint on the roof. Now this will take you a little while to do because you're going to want to get this to the colour you want. Now you don't have to be neat. I am not a colour-inner. I don't enjoy colouring in because I'm not very good at it. So you can see I've gone darker on the roof, and I'll also do the side of the roof darker, and the top I'm just going to do that with the darker colour, and just got to paint it on. And then the watered down I did on here, on the face of the house. And when you're doing it, you go, oh, that doesn't look so good. Don't panic. Don't worry. It will turn out fine. When I started doing this, I was like, oh. And I did watch some YouTubes, and I was like, oh, no one's really showing me how to do it. Oh, just have a go. So I did just have a go. Okay, so then you can let it dry just a little bit, but then I just got my wet one and I just took the colour back off a little bit. So especially, you know, if you want to see the windows done, you just get the, your baby wipe and just wipe it off, and you'll see how it's starting to come into shape. Now, I did let them dry a little bit, and then I did go, I didn't touch the roof because I want the roof to stay quite dark. So I'm just going to put a bit more paint into that roof. Then I did use some of the green spray. So I actually got a little bit of the green spray into my houses as well, because I thought, oh, well, I'll just add colour. So this is where it's just play, play, play till you get what you want. And I did just put just a little bit, just a little bit, and then I did dab it off. And then I put a bit more brown, and then I just really just kept playing with it till I was happy with how it looked. And look, it might take you a while to get it to how you want, but you know, time's plenty. And don't worry if you keep going over, because you just keep putting it on and keep taking it off. When I did these ones, I actually let the paint dry quite a lot, and then I wiped it off, and that's what I'll show you with the roof. So I'm just going to do this one. See there, just to get that darker colour in there now. I'm just going to put a bit more dark in there. And that looks really terrible, but then once you get the hang of it and you start wiping, I don't know what that is there, a bit of paper snuck in there. When you start wiping that, and I am just going to put that aside to dry just a little bit, and I'll show you on the welcome as well. So what I did with the welcome, I basically painted it with the brown. And just get the paint in there. And of course you've got plenty of paint to play with, so. And I put this on quite thick. And I think I might have even done, did I do 2 coats? I think I did do 2 coats. I'll just move these houses out of the way. So I'm just giving it like I said, I am no professional painter, by no means. Yeah, I just wanted to get it. I'm just going to let that dry off just a little bit, and then when it dries off, you can just get your wet one and wipe it off. So I'm just going to play with this house just a little bit more. I'm just going to start wiping some of that off, and you can see as it's drying, when you're wiping it off, it's going to give you that better look. And of course, the harder you press down, the more paint's going to come off. And then you can just, wipe your roof just a little bit, just to get that little bit of a look, like that sort of look on the roof. Okay. So So when you're happy with the colour, you can sort of go, oh yeah, I'm happy with that. You can then add, what I did, I actually got some of my spray, and I'm just going to wipe that green spray off. I actually got some of the purple spray, and I actually did put a little bit of purple spray in as well. So I just sort of put my paintbrush into the spray, and I just put a little bit into the windows, just to give it a little bit of colour in the windows. Don't worry if you go over, because like I said, there's no right or wrong to this. I just decided that I wanted to put a bit of that in there into the windows. I've probably gone a bit heavier just to emphasize what I'm doing. And then you just get your baby wipe, and you can dab it out of the windows just to give it that look. And so see how it's starting to come together now. Then, you know, and then you can just, you know, keep adding, keep wiping, keep adding until you're actually happy with the colour, the end colour. Just take that a bit, let's give that a bit more colour. And then just dab it off. Seems funny putting it on and then taking it off, but it just gives it that colour that we're looking for. Then you can get some more of your green if you want to put a little bit more green into it. I just didn't do much to the roof. I just basically painted the roof and left the roof. I didn't want to have the roof coloured. I just wanted to leave it brown and just wipe some of that off. So and when it dries, it looks really different as well. As you can see, these ones here, they've dried. This one's actually coming a bit darker, but I think it'll give it a bit of contrast, so I'm not too worried. Just paint the sides. Make sure you get the sides painted, because you will see those. And of course, when it dries off, you can always add more. Sometimes you can play with it, and you play with it too much. You can get your fingerprints in like I just did. So I'm actually going to once again now let that dry, and then I will wipe some more of that off. And then with the welcome, I've sort of had that a bit dry now. You can just, because you've painted it white, you're actually going to bring it back. So you're just going to wipe it. See how I'm just wiping that paint off? Whatever spots you want to wipe it. See how it just brings it back to a bit of a wood grain look? And you can do as much as you want. If you don't like it and you go, oh, I stuffed that up, you can just start again. Just repaint it. And I'm just going to take some off here. Yeah, so that's sort of the look that you're going for when you wipe it. And like I said, if you think you don't like it, then, you know, just repaint it and do it again. It needs to be relatively dry. Yeah, I think that's starting to look good. And it just gives it like a, I don't know, what do you call it, not a whitewash, but I might have taken a bit too much off there, so I'll just put a bit of paint back on there, let that dry off a little bit. Yeah, so that sort of gives you that wood look that, that we're hoping to achieve. So very, very simple. Wet ones are amazing for that. So I'm just going to put that aside to dry as well. And then I'm just going to go back to this house. I won't play with it too much, but I'll just... And when you wipe it off, you get that look where the windows are sort of showing a bit better. So I just And leave one side a bit darker. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go with that. All right. So what we need to do now, we've got to hope that our box is dry. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and just dry that off with a heat gun, and I will come back and we'll. All right, so we've had a bit of time for everything to dry, so we're now going to cut out a piece of pattern paper and stick it in. Like I said earlier, mine was 9 7/8 by 4 7/8, and I'm just going to glue that in there. Once again, you can choose the glue of choice. I'm just going to use this quick dry adhesive 450, same sort of glue, whatever glue you've got really to use. I tend to use this glue more for embellishments rather than paper, but just for this exercise I am going to use it because I just want it to dry a little bit quicker. So I'm just going to sit that in there, make sure that it's nice in there, get it nice into your corners, and you don't want any bubbles in your paper. So you just want to make sure that you've got that in there. So once again, you could use your little stamp buddy. Make sure you could also use Mod Podge for this if you wanted to use your Mod Podge. That would make it nice as well. Okay, so that is going to go in there. All right, so in your kit, you will have some muslin. So we're going to distress this muslin. So basically to distress it, all you do is just, pull it, give it a bit of a distressed look. So you just want to have it distressed. I've probably got way too much here. Maybe I'll just double it over. I might cut some of this off. I must. Yeah, so you just want to distress it to give it a bit of a distressed look. And when you're happy with it, you're just going to lay it in your box there, and you want it sort of sitting sort of like that, because we are going to put the houses over the top of it. So just, get it to how you want it. And then I'm just going to take that out. All I'm going to do is just get my glue, and I'm just going to run some glue across the back. So I'm just going to put some glue across the back. I won't go right to the top, and I didn't go right to the bottom. And then I'm just going to sit that in there and just press it down. And any that gets in the way, I'm just going to cut off. I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to cut this bit off the bottom because I don't really need it in there. Just take that off. Okay, so the next thing then that we're going to do, we're going to actually place our houses in there. So I did start from the right hand side and work my way across. So the first house that we're going to use is this one. Now I just glued these straight on. I didn't do anything fancy with them. What you will notice in the picture is the second one is actually sitting up. So I'll show you. So we're just going to pick probably about 1/2 inch from the right hand side, and on the back of yours, if you find that they're not quite even, it won't really matter as long as you get that good amount of glue on there to sit that in there. So about 1/2 inch. We are putting it to the bottom of the box. Oh, and don't forget which side you want. So I've got the most bricks on here. We are going to add a bit of brown paint to that later, but I did that sort of as a finishing touch, not so much before. I just wanted to get everything in place first. So we put that one in, and then this one here, where is it? This one. No, where's my other house? I'm missing a house, I think. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm not. So this one sits up on top. Just this one goes at the end here. I'm just going to make sure I haven't Oh, here it is. Couldn't see for looking, it was right in front of me. Okay, so when you place them, we'll place them from left to right, but I just want to quickly just check that's going to sit up there and that one. So, okay, so I have just got a packer. Now you can use mounting tape, you can use some old chipboard, whatever you've got as a packer, and I just glued that into place. I glued that into place, and then I basically put glue onto here so that was right. Now I'm not actually going to glue that in place just yet. I'm just going to get that prepared because we've got to glue this one here down first, but I just want to make sure that I've got that in the right place. So this one here, I am going to look at it, the paint on the back. I told you I'm no painter. I think my granddaughter can paint better than me, but anyway, so I'm just going to put that in there like so, and then I'm just going to double check because you just want that slight overlay there. Okay, so that's going to go down. I am going to just put a little bit of glue on either edge of the house just so it does give it something to hold on to, and then I'm just going to sit that one there. Now you've just got to be a little bit careful when you're doing this. That you don't come past this little lip in here because that's where our fence is going to go. So we just want to make sure that that glues down nicely. Oh, I need to move that over just so that sits on there. And then you've just really got to just have that patience for it to dry off. The same with this one here. So we're going to put that one in place. Once again, I've got another bit of old chipboard. I'm just using old chipboard. You can use mounting tape. You can use, if you want to use a bit of Corflue, if you want to use really anything that's going to just hold that. It's just to stabilize it. So really anything that you like. If you are going to use mounting tape, please glue your mounting tape between your layers. Otherwise it will let go. So I'm just going to check that one as well, because once again you need to glue this one down first. And I just put quite a bit of glue on there just to make sure that it's in the right spot. Then you just check to make sure that that one's going to sit up there. And then you can glue that down. And then I'm just going to put once again a bit of glue on either edge. Okay, so that's just going to go on there just so it sits on either side of the edge of those houses. And then that's we'll tack off and glue. Because it's quite wet here, it will take longer, but anyway, we can still keep working on this while we're doing it. So the next thing that we can put on is our fence. So you can use, once again, you can use this glue, you can use your art glitter glue. I think I'm just going to use this glue. I've got it here. So you've just got to be a little bit careful and just run your bead along that lip, run your glue along. Oops, try and stay in the, sorry, my head's in the way there. Try and stay in the lines. All right, and then we're just going to glue this fence in there. And that will also sit on the houses as well. And if you have gone a little bit too high on your house, then this is where you will know. So just got to keep pushing that down. Mine's still tacking off. And you'll find that it won't quite come to the other end. You'll be a little bit short. Don't panic. We're going to cover that with a flower. So we're just going to get this one doesn't want to stick down. Of course, when you're doing this, you will have time to let it all dry. Okay, so that's got your fence in there. That's just glued in there nicely. And then from there, excuse me, I used the tree with the leaves on. I actually used here because I wanted to put the little bird's nest in there, so you can glue that on as well. So we're just going to start building basically now with this. So it's just a matter of now putting all your pieces on. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on that as well. And then that's going, I lined it up with the corner. So it sort of just sat on the corner there. Just got to hold it till it tacks off. This glue is quite stringy. All right, and then down the other side here, I put the other one. It is a little bit long, so I did just cut some of the bottom off, and then I sat that in there. And I did put a little bit of glue on the corners here because when I put that in there, I did actually stick that onto the house just to sort of lift it up just a little bit. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down there just so that holds that up, and just sit that on the house. Once again, you'll have to wait for that to tack off. It won't take long to tack off. All right, so that's basically those two pieces of chipboard on. Then you've got your little bird's nest. So you've got two pieces to your bird's nest. I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the back of this one and stick it onto the solid piece. And then I'm just going to sit that on in there like that. So the bird's nest looks like it's sitting in the branch like so. And of course then you've got your little bird that will sit up on the nest as well. So I might glue him on, get him glued on. Just sit him up on the nest, and then that will all like so. All right, so what we need to do now, I'm just going to put that aside to dry just for a minute, and I'm going to bring our board back in. And I'm just going to turn mine over because I said earlier that if yours is a little bit long, you really need it to dry. So basically, I'm just going to go now and cut those pieces off that are just that little bit too long, just with my craft knife. Let's cut those off. It's just easier with a craft knife rather than using, trying to do scissors. All right, so I just cut those bits off. Now we're going to glue on our ring. So I actually put my, whatever this is called, to the side. The, I don't know what name it is. Doesn't matter. I put this to the side, and I just decided whichever side looked the nicest painted, and I just glued the opposite side. So I just glued all the way around on here and put my glue all the way around because I want it to stick. It will miss a couple of places, of course, where the slats aren't quite in place. Okay, and then I basically just centered it, top and bottom, left to right, and I did actually put it a little bit there because I wanted the little turny. I'm not a sewer. I don't know what the name of these things are called, but anyway, I'm just going to put that down like so. Just make sure you just push it down so it sits nicely. And then this is then just going to sit over the top like so. So I did put my glue basically just on here. If you want to make a packer, if you're a bit worried and you wanted to make a packer, by all means, you can do that. but I felt that that would be strong enough. So mine hasn't fallen off yet. And then basically I'm just going to sit that on there and make sure, because it will pretty much go edge to edge, and that's just going to sit on there really nicely. Now you can just leave that to tack off, but I'm going to keep working on mine. Of course, your welcome is going to go on the top there. I'm just having a look at that, and I'm actually thinking I might take a bit more of that brown paint off mine, just to give it a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to get my, I'll just let that dry off a minute. I'm just going to really just give that a little bit more. I just want to get some of that darker paint off there. It's a bit harder now, it's really dry, but if you just really get into it with the baby wipe, it will come up. And it's just a matter of how you like it, how you want it to look. I just think that was just a little bit dark. But I like the darker colour with the lavender. I think that looks really nice. Might be a bit better. Yeah, I'm liking that more. That's better. Yeah, so we can glue that on. So I just basically put my glue onto here, and just put the glue onto there, and then I just sat that where I wanted it, and then because the glue dries clear, you won't notice that when it all dries off. And if you wanted to, you could get your wipe and just wipe between it if you were worried. But don't wipe too hard, because you'll wipe the paint off. Okay, so that's just going to sit there. So what have we got to put on next? All right, so let's just have a look at this. I'll just move this over and just make a bit of room. All right, so I'm just going to push this house down. It just keeps wanting to pop up. The glue's still taking a while to tack off. All right, so then basically now it is just flower placement. So I always start with the biggest flower. So I just pick the biggest flower, and I'm going to sit that there. I place my flowers first, and then I take one up, glue, put it down. I did cut off all of the green stems. I use my little clippers. I don't use my scissors to do that. The other option, of course, is if you've got, I'll use this paintbrush. I'll just show you another option with using these. You can actually just wrap this around a skewer or your poker tool or whatever you've got. And if you want to, you can just leave the little green edges on there, just to give that another look. I did cut them off. Yeah, this glue is taking quite a long time to dry. It is. It's been raining here for, I don't know, I can't remember. I think we've had, I can count on one hand the amount of days we've had with no rain since Christmas. It's been very, very wet year. All right, so then basically we're just going to continue placing our flowers and putting them on. So I'm just going to work out where I want them. So I'll probably put one there, and then the other one I will probably bring down here. I'm just sort of following, what I did. I've got our buds here. So I've got 2 buds. And when I do my buds, I do wire them together. So I work out, I want it to look like so. So then I'll just wire that together, and then I do cut that off. So I do cut part of that off, and then I'll sit that there. Okay, that's going to go there, and then I've got my green flowers as well. I always cut those off as well. And you can play with the flowers a little bit if you want to open them up. You can play with them. And then, so it's just now really placement of where everything goes. The only other thing that we haven't done, which I I mean, everyone can use the photo to work out how to place their flowers, but I'm just going to, you're just going to place your flowers wherever. And of course, you've got your leaves to tuck in. I tuck them in last, always tuck my leaves in last. And if I find that it sticks out too far, I actually do cut the leaf off. Because that's, I just find that easier. We've got our little home tweet home to put there. You can, if you wanted to move your flowers around a bit and decorate it differently to I have, you can. So I would leave that till later to put that on. Then of course you've got all your roses, your other birds. So I put one bird like sort of sitting on the roof. I'll just put a bit of glue on him. He can go on. Okay, so I just put this one here, like he was sitting sort of, I think, on the window. So I'll put him there. And the other little bird, mine's flown away. Where has it gone? Oh, he was hiding. Here he is. So I put him over here. So I'll just put him on as well. And I just sat him on this window. And you can just see the different colours. I did this one in different colours on purpose because I did want you to see, not everybody wants pink. I think it would look equally as beautiful in blue. I think if I was going to do red flowers, I'd probably consider putting a bit of black into the houses, not a lot. I did do some houses where I painted them and then I got my Nuvo paints or another coloured paint and lightly went over the windows just to highlight the windows even more. I've done some where I just really lightly left them nearly white with just a tiny little bit of colour and then put the colour into the windows. So there's so many different ways you can do it. But then just finally, I've got the wrong colour. I've got white, I need the brown. Where did I put my brown paint? I've got a big mess here now. I'm just going to get my brown paint. And this is also an option, whether or not you want to. I just put a tiny little bit of paint on the mat, and I just got my finger and I basically just added a little bit of brown to the bricks, just to highlight them a little bit. So you can do that as well. If you want to have it a little bit more prominent, just give it a little bit more. Yeah, so you can just add that to them. What else did I do? I'm just having a look here. I'm just looking at this on mine. This one I've got just that little bit of a white space there that I don't really like. So I'm just going to see what I can do to fix that. So just a bit of brown on there, and that just gives them a whole another look as well. And like I said, you can put it in places. All right, so I was just sort of thinking with mine here, I'm probably going to, I might even just get a little bit of paint and just do something with that, or I might even move that along to there, and then I might change the way I do these flowers. Like I'll still put that one there, put that one there. I do have one sitting up here as well. And then what I'm thinking, I might even just pull this one up on top of that a little bit and then put, the smaller ones down underneath. So I'll put the green one underneath. You've got plenty of flowers to use. We've got these ones as well. So I could even move that back and put a green one up there as well. So it's just placement now, how you'd like to place your flowers. I think that one actually goes there. Just trying to work out which one. Oh no, I actually put that one there. I'm just looking at my other one that I made. So we're talking about the same thing. Yeah, I might put that one there. So And just place these a little bit differently. I need one up there. That one was going to go up there. That's glued now, so that's good. So that one will go, and I actually glued that down into the corner like that. So I glued that down into there. So you can glue that down. It's a bit hard when I can't quite see over the top of what I'm doing, but I just put some glue in there. Sorry for my head for a moment, and I just stuck that down in there, and you will just have to hold that for a little bit. And I did put a green one up there as well. Yeah, so let me just get my clippers, just cut that off. Don't cut it too close to the flower because then all the stamens will fall out. Sorry, excuse my head again. I'm just going to go and put that just so that fits in there nicely. I'll just put some glue on that. So yeah, so now really it's just a matter of placing your flowers where you want them and then tucking your leaves in. And then of course I had, you know, the roses up on here as well. If you're not sure, make sure you place your flowers first and then take the time to then pick one up at a time and glue it down. So I just had that just to cover the end of that chipboard there. Put that one there, and then I think I used these and just place them through. But you get the gist of it anyway of what we're doing here now. I think the hardest part was just making sure you had your houses, that you were happy with them. Of course, it'll be quite, you know, quite a nice dramatic thing to have in your welcome into your craft room or welcome into your home. So I'm just going to just place my flowers, and I'm going to leave you all to glue all of those on. And please send me a photo when you've finished. I'd love to see what you do with it, you know, how yours turned out. It would be really nice to see that. I've got my other buds here. I always put one higher than the other. I don't know why. I just think it looks nicer. Let's turn those and cut that off. So that's going to go up there. I might actually be able to still put that one down the bottom if I put that up there, and then I've got one of these. I might just start gluing mine on. And that one's going to come in there. You can actually put some glue on the buds as well to hold them. Okay, then I've got I should have got my glue holder out. This takes, so, you know, but okay, so I'm just going to put that one there. I think I will put a bit of glue on those buds just to hold them in, stop them from moving around on me. And then I had a rose up in there. And of course you can never get it the same twice, so which makes them individual, doesn't it? So just got to hold that in place. Like I said, it's not good drying weather here. So you get the gist of it, and then we're just going to come down again with this flower, and I tend to tuck them under a little bit so they you know, they look like there's no gaps. I don't like gaps. So I tend to tuck under and then of course you'll have your leaves to tuck in. And like I said earlier, if you find when you go to tuck that leaf in that it's just too big, I do actually cut them off. So I just cut them off and put my glue on. And then I'll just stick that in there like so. Right, what's next? Then we've got this one of these. They're a little bit trickier to cut those off. They're a bit more of a wire. All right. It's going to go in there. And then I did put some inside as well. So I had one of these and a rose that I did put inside of mine. I'm actually just going to tip mine up a little bit so I can just see what I did do there. Okay. Just where it's gluing off. And I did stick, always bend the wire over just to stop it, and I do put glue around that wire when I'm doing it as well. And then I'm just going to sit that one down in there, which covers, the reason I put that one down in there was to cover the bottom of the stalk on the little tree there. And I also put a rose down in there as well. So that's got to go down in there. Put that in there. And then you don't really notice it, but when you're looking at it side on, you'll actually see that sitting in there. And then this one, I'm just going to put another leaf up in the top there. I will cut that one off as well. I'll just put some glue on it. And using this glue as well, it is good because it does actually give you time to fiddle around with it before the glue really sets hard. Okay, and we've got this one which will go here. So it's starting to come together now. Okay, and so on. So we're just going to keep going with our flowers and leaves. This one here, I think I will put back down there. I was going to move it, but I'm thinking I might just move that. I might just put one of these flowers up there, which I do have on the picture anyway. I'm just looking at that gap in the middle. But if I put that one up there, and then I will... How many? I think there's extra flowers, so I think I've got a couple of extra to play with. So by the time I put that in there, put that one there, and a rose on there. A rose. I put a rose in there, and then I've got another rose down here, and so on. But anyway, I will finish this off, and I will show you the finished product, and we'll go from there. But anyway, enjoy putting your flowers on, and we will go from there. All right, so once you've got all your flowers where you want them and you're happy with how it looks, I would just leave it set aside to dry, maybe overnight, and that way everything will definitely be stuck down. If there's any, you know, when you pick it up, obviously if something falls off, you'll just need to re-stick that. But I'm pretty happy with that. And once, like you can see, this is done in a different colour to the original one, which is here. So that's the original one, and I think with this one I might have just tucked the flowers slightly different, but when you put them side by side, I don't know if you can see the whole of that in there. I actually just realised too that I did on this one here, I actually did do the leaves in green, and this one I've done them in purple. Do I think I want to change that? No, I think that'll be fine. I think that looks pretty good. So anyway, and of course yours, you know, you can definitely, whatever colour you're doing, I'd love to see them, or you could just leave them white as well, which would also look really nice. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this video and purchasing this kit from Blooms and Lace Paper Creations. I do hope you enjoyed putting that together. But anyway, I'd just like to say thank you. And as always, keep smiling, happy scrapping.